Hello all and welcome to another CEX challenge video. And I thought to myself, I had so much fun last time doing the two-store £10 PlayStation 2 challenge that I would do a similar challenge this time. Similar being in that I have one budget and I'm going to two stores, but this time there are going to be a couple of differences. This time I'm doubling the budget to 20 quid. And this time I'll be hunting for my beloved Xbox 360, something I'm collecting for and obviously trying to get a full set for. So I'm doubling the budget because it's been a while since I've been out and bought a few Xbox 360 games to add to the collection. It's something I really love doing, so I'd like to buy more games. So doubling the budget obviously gives me that advantage. But I've got to go to two stores and do it. So obviously I've got to be aware of the budget. So in my mind I'm thinking £10 per store. That's probably doable. But at the same time, I've got to bear in mind that I have got to go to another store, and obviously I don't want to spend too much of the budget, or if I can't find enough games in the first one, I've then got a lot of budget to take to the next one, and what if I can't spend it? Because, as many of you know, like I said, going for the full set, I do have quite a few. Now with the PlayStation 2, I didn't have that many, so not buying stuff I already own, which is one of the rules, wasn't too difficult. But this time I've got around about 750 out of 1200 Xbox 360 games, so this time it is going to be a little bit more of a challenge to find stuff that I don't already own, because that is one rule. The second rule is that I can't buy any generic sports titles, but having said that, I've got most of the cheap ones, and it's only the real expensive ones that I've got left anyway, so that's probably not going to be too much of an issue. So we're not far from the train station now, so let's jump on that, get to the first town, which will be Bishop Stortford. I will do a couple of little in-store clips, perhaps have a look at the retro sections, because that's always fun to do. It's been a while since I've been there, so hopefully there'll be some new stuff from last time I did the PlayStation 2 challenge. So yeah, let's get on the train and get to the first store. Okay, so we are done in the first CEX store, and I'm actually in Harlow Town already. I thought I'd find somewhere to plonk my bag down and just go through the games I picked up in the first store. And we've got a nice £12 budget to carry over to this Harlow Town store, which I'll soon be in. So only £8 spent so far. So a nice start to the challenge with a nice little amount left over to go. So first up, Sean White snowboarding for only 50p. So 50p spent in this challenge is an absolute result. So yeah, Sean White snowboarding for only 50p. The third snowboarding game I now own for the Xbox 360 alongside SSX and Amped 3. It is a standalone title, so it's not a generic sports title, so it's breaking no rules, and it does come complete with manual as well, as do they all. I'm not going to open them all up, but they do all come complete with manual, otherwise I wouldn't buy them anyway, because they have to have the manual to go into the collection. So yeah, Sean White snowboarding for only 50p, bargain. Okay, next up, another 50p bargain. We've got Rocksmith authentic guitar games. Apparently anyone can play guitar and bass. I hope that is true, because I do have a desire to get an achievement out of every Xbox 360 game possible. However, I don't have the setup for this. I hope one day to somehow get the setup or borrow the setup and get at least one achievement out of this game in the future. But yeah, only 50p, comes complete with manual. Need it as part of the set, got it as part of the set. Okay, next up, the Bureau Xcom Declassified. Do you know what? I actually know nothing about this game. Only £2, again, complete with manual, only £2. Gonna pick it up all day long. So yeah, know nothing about it. Looks very interesting from the back. So yeah, it'd be nice to dive into a game without knowing anything about it, because yeah, that'll be fun. That will be fun. Okay, next up we've got Star Trek for only £2.50. I have got Star Trek Legacy, the other Star Trek game, which is slightly dearer, but we now have Star Trek for only £2.50, again complete with manual. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Star Trek franchise, it's not something I'm really into. However, just because you're not into a franchise doesn't mean the game will be bad. It might be an enjoyable game, who knows. It might be good for gamer score as well, because as we all know, I'm into that as well. So Star Trek for only £2.50, also needed as part of the set, absolute bargain. And then finally, one I'm really pleased to have in this format, because every time I see this as a standalone title, it's always a classics, and I see it as a bundle all the time. In fact, I've got it part as a bundle twice, I think, and it's also part of the Rare Replay collection on the Xbox One. But I don't have it as a standalone title in its normal green case as well, and that obviously is Cameo Elements of Power, and only on Xbox 360 as well, and for only £2.50, complete with manual. And this one is really minty as well, so very pleased with that. So we've got 5 games so far for £8, and that's a great start to the challenge, as I've already said. So £12 to carry over into the Harlow Town store. Again, we'll have a little look at the retro, and yeah, let's get walking, and we should be there in only about 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, let's get to the Harlow Town store and complete this challenge. Okay, so challenge has been completed. I have indeed been to 2 CEX stores in one day with a budget of £20 that has to be spent over both stores, not exceeded it. In fact, I spent exactly the £20. I was always going to, if I could. More games, the better. Anyway, now, I was going to show you these live out and about. At the train stations where I normally do that, there's a nice little secluded section of the train station out of the way. It's a quiet station and I normally do it there. However, a series of extraordinary events transpired. Now, I stopped at a couple of big charity shops on the way home. I mean, that's not an extraordinary event at all. That's the kind of thing I normally do. Didn't find any new games. Left with a handful of DVDs, but what did happen is a wild retro chef appeared, and it's the first time I've met Lee out and about in public, and it was a pleasure to have a nice chat with you. And Lee, being the gentleman he is, said, I'll give you a lift home if you want. Now, I only live 5 minutes down the road, but it saves me a lot of time, so awesome gesture, mate. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, what a surreal sequence of events that led to us crossing paths for the very first time, and an absolute pleasure. But anyway, the games, what I completed the challenge with, and yep, DJ Hero's been staring at you here for quite a while as I've been waffling on. But yes, DJ Hero for only 50p, really pleased to pick this up. Now, I did actually see a copy of this in the Bishop Stortford store. It had its manual in it, but on the back, it had a hole punctured in it in the middle, and unfortunately I pierced right through the inlay as well, and I didn't quite like that. So I kind of thought, you know what, I'll have to hard pass on that, even though it's only 50p and I really want it. And the reason why I do really want it is because I already have a deck in a nice case as well that was kindly gifted to me quite a while ago from Sean of Retro Games Revived. Awesome guy, Sean, awesome channel. We'll chuck a link in the description to it. Retro Games Revived, please do check him out. When he gifted it to me, he said, I'm sorry mate, the games aren't in. And I said, don't worry, the games are cheap enough, I'll pick them up at some point. So 50p for DJ Hero, complete with manual. They're all complete with manual, just like the last bunch, so I'm not going to open them up and show you them all, but they do all come complete with manual. Nice clean crispy manual in this one as well. So yeah, DJ Hero for only 50p, brilliant to finally be able to give those decks a little spin. Next up, now I don't see this as a generic sports title. It was a Rugby World Cup 2011. This was the last game I found. I was literally left with a 50p left. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I could just not spend that 50p. Not going over the budget is still counting as success. I could just spend 19.50 and it's still win-win with regards to the challenge. But I thought, do you know what? I'll go through them all. And this was the only 50p game I could find that I didn't already have. And for me, the rugby games on the 360s never really had a generic series. And being as it's a World Cup game as well, you can't call one game every 4 years a generic series either. I do believe there's a 2015 game as well. That's a quid, and they did have it. Obviously, that would put me over the budget. So I did leave it behind. That will be for another day. And obviously, I do need it because going for a full set. But yeah, Rugby World Cup 2011, complete with manual. Thank you very much. Okay, now we've got Connect games. All these three coming up now are all Connect games. And I've got a little thing for the Connect. I do really enjoy playing Connect games. And they must have had someone trading a Connect with a load of Connect games, because I go in there a lot. I would have certainly seen this last time. I would have certainly seen the other two as well. But Power Up Heroes for only £3. I thought, yeah, having that. I do want to kind of focus on the Connect. I've said that in the past, but I kind of lost my focus a little bit. But I now want to focus again on getting Connect games. So when I saw that for £3 only, I thought to myself, yep, I'll nab that. And of course, having 12 quid going into that store and find these Connect games for a little bit more, you know, than what you could have wanted to perhaps spend if you'd spent too much at the first store, would turned out to be a right result. So yeah, £3 for Power Up Heroes. Next up, you know, I'm actually really pleased about having this. Probably most out of all of the games pleased about having this one. And the reason is I've got the other 3 Zumba games, and this was the only one I was missing. Now, it's not an overly expensive game at £4. However, it's just not seen around as much. Now, if you put the 4 games in a timeline, this is the 3rd release of Zumba games on the 360, with the 4th one, World Party, being the one to really look out for. Never seen it out in the wild before. Do already have it. They had all 4 Zumba games on the shelf, which makes me think that someone traded in a Connect and obviously had them all because they were into it. And that's the first time I've ever seen that game out in the wild as well. It did have a manual. So if you're in Harlowtown, you really need that game, which is quite a rare one to find. Go and grab it. They do have the manual. It's behind the counter. So yeah, I was really pleased to have that and complete my little Zumba subset on the Xbox 360 at only £4, and that left exactly £4 off the budget left. And the last game cost £4, and I'm so pleased to have this. And yet it's a bad game apparently. Apparently this is a really bad game, but I like playing bad games. I've got a little thing for trying out bad games. So when I saw this there for £4, I thought, do you know what? I'm a wrestling fan as well, and I like playing the Connect, and I don't mind playing a bad game because I just have to sample them. Do you know what? It was me to a T. I knew this existed. Apparently it's easy gamer score as well. And of course, that's my thing too, gamer score. And if it's easy, I'm certainly going to go for it. So, do you know what? I'm going to have a Connect session again because I do have to sort of move my living room around to make room for it. So I'm going to have a Connect session again. And this is probably going to be one of the first ones I play. And I'm going to give them all a bash. I'm even going to play the Zumba games because, you know, I've always said I'm a gamer before a collector. I collect because I'm a gamer and I love the 360 and I want the full set. So I'll even try the Zumba games at some point as well. So yeah, give me a game with achievements. I'll be going for them. So anyway, so I didn't plan it like this, but this means we got 5 games from the second CEX and we've got 5 games, if I can just bring them back into view perhaps. 5 games from the first CEX. So I couldn't have planned it like this. I didn't plan it like this. You know, I mean, the ideal situation would have been spending £10 at each and buying 5 games at each. So it was 8 and 12 and got 10, you know, got 10 games. So easy maths as well. £2 a game that averages out at. And I've got, you know, I'm really pleased with that. Obviously, I'm always going to be pleased with adding new games to the Xbox 360 collection. And it's been an absolute, real great day for me. It's been fun to do this. I always enjoy doing this, but just to bump into a fellow tuber who's been a friend and only heard my voice was an absolute pleasure. So it's been an absolutely, really, really great day, and I've really enjoyed it. And if you have enjoyed this video, hitting a thumbs up would be awesome. Please feel free to comment below. I do like a bit of interaction. I do reply to all comments, so please do comment below. And if you are new to the channel, why not stick around for more by subscribing? So with that, I think it just leaves me to say on what I'm calling an extraordinary day, thank you very much for watching. And as always, please do take care.